So if Andras in the audience, please come up and get your award. Nobody wants me there. I don't feel quite as abandoned. Thank you. Well deserved. Congratulations. Pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome to Radio 8Ball, give us a shake. We're live on stage, tempting fate. This full moon night, putting questions to the songs which we will randomly select here with the help of our friend Synchronicity. And now it's time for Radio 8Ball, give us a shake. It's the Radio 8Ball. I Ching, tarot, and the coin toss all rely on the random chaos. Carl Jung, John Cage, John Lennon, your host. That's me, Andras. I subscribe to it in theory. Radio 8Ball, give us a shake. Shadoo-be-doo. We're live on stage, tempting fate. Should-do-be-do, putting questions to the songs which we will randomly select here with the help of our friend Synchronicity. And the answers are free. On the Radio 8Ball, give us a shake. It's the Radio 8Ball Show, Radio 8Ball. Radio, ow, ow, ow. It's the Radio 8Ball Show.
Hard carrying member.
Welcome, Sandman. Welcome to Radio 8Ball. How many of you are familiar with Radio 8Ball and how it works? You remember it from its many years on KAOS? Well, it's good to bring it back. What we're going to do here, just to let you know, since you probably know it from the radio, you don't know it from the live show, what we do is we have a list of 8 songs from Sandman. Can we get them up on the screen there, Paulie? We'll see them in just a second. 8 songs. As you can see, there are 8 numbers on the wheel of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The songs will appear in just a moment. If the wheel lands on the same number twice, we will break the tie with the Radio 8 cards, which I have right here. And that is how we divine the answers to these questions. So, the way this usually works, I also want to tell you we're going to be joined by a very special celebrity Skype-in halfway through the show. That is Dino Stamatopoulos. He plays the character Starburns on the TV show Community. Any fans of the TV show Community out there? If you are a fan of the TV show Community, you know that last week Starburns died and had his funeral. So we will be resurrecting him on this stage, doing a resurrection ritual right here on this full moon night. A pop resurrection ritual. So there's a lot in store for you. Plus, how many of you filled out question cards? Do you have a question card? If you have it, hold it up above your head. Okay, a few of you do. If you haven't already got your question card, you can get one from the lady in red right here. Stand up, Scarlet Lady, right there. Get a question card from her. We'll be taking your questions later. Okay, I think that deals with most of the business. So, why don't we bring down that music? And I will begin this show by asking my own question. So, it's really fantastic to be back on this stage. It's been a long time. And every time I have to ask a question, and that's the challenge I give myself before every show, I have to really try and figure something that's the most transparent and honest and also the best showbiz kind of question for you. So I've been thinking, one of the reasons I'm here is because I wrote a book called Accidental Initiations in the Kabbalistic Tree of Olympia. And while I was out talking about this book, I was talking about this event, and then the fans of Radio 8Ball and all that voted us onto the stage. And there's a line in the book that says, revolutions eat their children. And I was born on the front line of the sexual revolution. My family moved here in 1969. My father was one of the founding faculty at Evergreen. And my mother was one of the first wave of Evergreen feminists to land on these shores. To be reborn 2.5 decades later as the Riot Girls, who didn't like me much. Can't really blame them. I did, though. Led to much frustration. I made a lot of art about it. I made a lot of noise about it. And then about 2.5 years ago, in an alchemical ritual, which I document in my book, I married myself out in the Kabbalistic tree of Olympia. And I found that all of these masculine, what I thought of as my masculine qualities that had got me in so much trouble, all of my passion and my intensity and my righteous anger, that it got shot through with this divine, I can only say, you know, cuntish essence that just filled me up and unleashed these previously latent qualities. And I realized that much as I didn't know it and much as it might flip people's shit for me to say it, I was and always had been a riot girl. And then maybe that's why I had so much trouble with it here in this town. And so I've been listening to, you know, I've been listening to this feminine voice inside of me that sounds a lot like me, telling me all kinds of like crazy shit. Like that I'm a riot girl, that like you don't need a pussy to be a riot girl any more than you need a dick to do anything. And so my question, I'm going to lead this is leading to a question, but I want to be transparent here with you. It's not whether or not a man can be a riot girl, because obviously one can. But can you, my fellow Olympians, deal with a man who's a riot girl? Now, I'm not asking you, because I know that the answer right now is clearly no, from my own experience. But that's why we have a pop oracle, because we can peel back the layers a little bit. So now I'm going to go to the pop oracle, we're going to spin, and we're going to see what song we get. To see if you can't be rocked by my talk, sir, you're not listening. Here we go. We're going to spin the Wheel of 8. Can Olympia handle a man who's a riot girl? Number 8, Sugar Bank Hank. Way up at the top. Let's have that Radio8Ball logo up there.
All right, here's the answer, Andras. Sugar Bank Hank, she's a real good gal. I'm her boo and she's my pal. Leave a message on my phone. As you can tell, I'm not at home. I'm with the Sugar Bank Hank. She's my sugar bee. And we're down in the swamp with Spanish moss wrapped around our knees. Oh, let the barefoot trees come running, let the barefoot trees come running, let the barefoot trees come running back to me. Sugar Bank Hank, she's a real good friend. She's gonna love me till the end. Have one baby, maybe 10. Go to heaven, start again. Oh, Sugar Bank Hank, sweet as a honey bee. And we're down in the swamp with Spanish moss and wrapped around our knees. Whoa, 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 Sugar Bank Hank, sweet as a honey bee. She's my honey bee, honey bee. And we're down in the swamp with Spanish moss wrapped around our knees. Oh, let the barefoot trees come running, let the barefoot trees come running, let the barefoot trees come running back to me. Sugar Bank Hank.
So, Sugar Bank Hank, that was the answer to my question. Can my fellow Olympians handle a man who's a riot girl? It's interesting. Well, tell me a little bit about the background of that song. Tell us a little bit. I know some of my own, but...
Hank is my nickname for my wife, Hannah Cassim, formerly of Olympia, now in Missoula. We just did have our first baby. We got 9 more to go. And, yeah, I don't know. Just, the Barefoot Trees is a reference to a Nizar Qabbani poem. He was the Syrian, poet laureate until he died, kind of. This is actually the Syrian flag, and Hannah's half Syrian, and I just wanted to reference some Syrian poetry in that song. I think the end of his poem goes like, when I love a woman, all the trees run barefoot toward me.
Well, that's perfect. Well, it's interesting because, the song, my question does come from having performed sort of an alchemical marriage ritual on myself. And, I guess, the first thing I get is like, oh, obviously, who cares? Like, if you're in love with someone, you don't care what your neighbors think, ultimately. Ultimately, you would like for people to accept the way you love as being natural and okay. But if it's true, then if you're all wound up together down in that mud from which the lotus blossom grows, it doesn't really matter. And then the only other thing is that, that I guess that's the piece that maybe I didn't communicate, is that would be the one amplification, is that divine essence, it is sugary as all hell. It is like this sugar bank that lives inside of us. And synchronicity is one way of unlocking it. There's all these ways of unlocking it. I invite you to check out my book, which is out for sale in the lobby. It's about this magical item that lives right outside these doors out in Sylvester Park. But that's a little demonstration of how Radio 8-Ball works. Now we're going to collect the questions that you've selected, and we can have you up here, and it gets a lot more fun when we get some more people up on stage. So, if you have a question, please hold it above your head.